So once again, thank you so much. I would also like to introduce Mr. Mann, the director of choirs here at Williston. And along with Mr. Raffetto, who's calling the show from the back of the house, we co-taught this trimester of Williston Scholars. To outshine us a little bit, Mr. Raffetto is also stage managing today's performance. He was our technical director and made everything possible with light, sound, and all technical elements for us tonight. So big shout out to him in the back.
Because Connor is sitting to my left, I guess we'll start with him. And then this is similar for Lily as well, too. So we noticed that in both of your presentations, you used extended harmony through tonicization. Connor's was in the clip with the sandwich falling from the sky, using extended harmony, and then Lily also uses extended harmony in Bones. And I'm wondering why you chose to use that kind of harmony and how it elevated what was happening in that particular moment for you. So maybe Connor, you go first, and then pass it to Lily.
I'm gonna be honest. My intention was not to use extended harmony. I looked on the internet, object falling sound effect, and I put that in my presentation. So if it's extended harmony, that's that's nice. But I think Lily will have a deeper explanation to hers.
I don't really, okay. So Bones was a great song to write, and I thought it was incredible the way that I could. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but I think the extended harmony part, well, I've definitely put a lot of effort into like creating a song that has a lot of repetition and has a lot of like sound that you can, when you hear it, you'll know it's from the song, is basically what I'm getting at. I use it to my advantage where I don't know if it had much to do with the story, but it definitely had a lot to do with trying to create an original, a unique sound that if someone heard, they'd remember, and if someone like heard, like they could probably, I don't know, someone might be able to sing it right now. I don't know. That's kind of the point of why I did it, just so that someone could repeat it back to me.
Belen, while we have your piece fresh in mind, I want to direct a question to you. First of all, I want to give you a big shout out because I know you're working through a bit of pain right now. She's recovering from a recent injury, so thank you for giving it your all. It was really remarkable. Can you tell us a little bit about the 3 songs that you selected and how they connect to the theme that you introduced to us about self-discovery and working through toxic relationships?
Sure. So I chose the 3 different songs first off because the songs specifically are personally like significant to me because I associate memories with songs a lot. So, but what I was trying to convey with my piece was like 3 different periods in time almost. And the first song kind of represents to me like youthfulness and like innocence. And then the second song is a little bit more gritty. I think it's a little like when I was a freshman, I remember being like, I have to choreograph to this song at some point. So it felt right, but it's more about like going through hardship and dealing with power imbalances and things like that. And then the last song I think is a little bit about like finding one's independence and like rising above all of that. So that was sort of why I chose the 3 songs and their significance. So yeah, thank you.
We'd like to open it to questions from the audience as well. So if you have questions for any of our scholars on stage about their work or their process, raise your hand and we'll call on you. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you play that in Drop 2, Ohio? I did. Actually, originally recorded in Drop 2? So originally it was not recorded in Drop 2. Did you want a little more bass on it, or what was the reason? Yeah, so really the main reason was I thought that note itself, that low bass note, was almost
Thank you, Tucker. Over here. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a very interesting choice of inspirational movement. So I don't know, it's maybe a little somewhat contentious kind of question, but I think the answer here I respond to it. You know, the Gilgamesh figure kind of lords it over this world. You know, this world on the on the cusp of the advent of civilization. So I'm wondering, what you're thinking about, sort of, I don't know, this is maybe a sweeping question, but something of the grand sweep of history and civilization, and how you think about, that kind of figure in light of many of the sorts of issues that we're dealing with in our, let's call it, civilization today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the really beautiful thing about Gilgamesh is that it's so universal in its messages, not only in a hero finding his place in the world and coming to terms with like being mortal, but in learning to rule a kingdom or a civilization with grace. I mean, he starts out the epic as a pretty awful person, generally despised by everyone. And then at the end, through finding his own humanity, learns to kind of treat others and govern with respect. And so I think that maybe that lesson of needing to find oneself before being able to outwardly like help others is one that we can apply to the modern world and the country that we live in today.
Do we have other? Yes, over in the center of the house.
This is for Tyler. I was just wondering how he went about learning his song in Swedish.
Great question.
So every song that I learn, I like to start with the rhythms. So I will just like speak it on rhythm, like bum bum, like da da on some consonant or phrase like that. And then I focus on the notes, and then finally the lyrics, which particularly for Vandring and Serenade, I don't have a ton of experience with Swedish. I'd love to get more, so it took a lot of effort to get the correct pronunciations. The IPA certainly helped, as well as I got help from a website called Forvo, which is where native speakers of languages can like put pronunciation of words, and also friend from Sweden, Maya, sent me a recording of the spoken text for Vandring, which was very helpful as well.
I would say that like it's an ongoing process. I think that it's definitely helpful because I spent a lot of time like when I was choreographing it, sitting down and thinking about my emotions and trying to think about like how I wanted to best display that through art, which I think kind of forces you to like look at what you're dealing with and what you're experiencing. So I would say don't feel like you have to like find closure. I think closure is a stupid concept. I don't think it really exists. I think people are more complicated than that. And I think that like just take it each day at a time and do something like this where you can like kind of work through your emotions about it and just talk about it with people. So yeah.
You're the sole raised hand right now, so go ahead.
So I wanted to ask Sage a little bit about her piece. I really love the conceit of it. Obviously the inspiration is, horrific. But I like the kind of the closed box, and how that, the kind of compression of identities and emotions. I don't know if I have a question to that so much, but maybe if you want to speak to, how you conceive of that.
Yeah, so I had this idea when I was lying in bed during the break before the spring trimester, and I was trying to think, and I couldn't sleep because I was really worried about what I was going to write my Williston Scholars project about, and I really didn't know. And I was thinking about plays that I've read in the past, and one that I don't know that I love it as a play, but it had an interesting concept sort of similar to this, which was The Boys in the Band, which is set in one apartment over the course of one night. And I thought it would be really interesting to do a similar thing, because I think having, especially strangers being trapped together, brings up a really interesting set of emotions and new connections and self-discovery. So I got the idea originally from that, and I thought I needed it to be something where the stakes were higher and something that was meaningful to me. And the anniversary of the Pulse shooting is coming up, or the couple-year anniversary, and it was just something that I was sort of thinking about. I saw an article about it, and I thought that it would be something really important for me to write about and sort of spread this message of how traumatic events can both be horrific and bring seemingly completely different people together in a time of trauma.
I'd like to piggyback off of that to ask Liz a question, because your play, like Sages, brings together a series of mostly strangers, some people who are acquainted with themselves through a tragedy, also mostly set in one single location, but it is a very different type of play. It's based on entirely fictional events. So I'm curious if you could share a little bit about what are some of the reactions to the tragedy in your play that you were trying to bring forth through the ensemble, the series of characters that are brought together in that piece.
So my goal for my piece was to highlight the different reactions that people can have to a traumatic event. So that's why I tried to include a variety of different characters who had various relationships. So it turned into sort of a play about my own reactions. For example, like comedy, distancing myself, just like freaking out in a room or something. And I just want to cement the fact that there's different reactions, and obviously every one is valid. So that's what I was trying to do there, yeah.
Yes, is that Alice? Go ahead, Alice.
So I can go first. I don't know if me and Lily's processes are exactly the same. There's not really a science to it, but like at least the way I like to do it, I like to like think about what I want the piece to be about generally, and then I start with either a word or a phrase, and then do like total brain dump, free write, like don't worry about grammar, anything like that for like 10 minutes, and then like sift through and kind of think about like a story arc and what I want like the people to be, if I want it to be like really personal, or I want to change a lot of names and like situations, and then kind of make a rhyme scheme out of that. And then I start working on melodies and different chords to add to that. Yeah. Lily, I don't know if you have the...
Oh God, yeah, it's extremely similar. So when I write music, it's oftentimes that I find myself, usually I'm inspired by something. I don't like, I'm the type that doesn't write like when, like if you put me in this situation again, I probably wouldn't be able to write the same good music or anything of the same quality, because I usually write when I'm inspired, not like trying to find something, because I just am awful at doing that. Some people can do that, I cannot. But when I found something similar to, I was inspired to write Bones based off my grandparents or just other people I've seen. I get inspiration from that, and then I do something similar to Julia, where I usually think of a phrase. So bones is like it's a very physical part of a person that you can't give away. And I think that that's really powerful in saying, I wish I had bones to give to you, but you don't, because you can't do that. And then I do something similar. Instead of free writing, I usually find a melody to go for a chorus or a verse, whichever one is calling to me first. There's no science, like Julia said, but yeah, that's basically what I do. It's something very similar, but it's a little altered. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Any other questions? Yes? Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your questions and thank you for being here. Before we part ways, we want to recognize some seniors who have made continued and very valuable contributions to our theater program. And today was the last performance that they would have on this stage, at least as Williston students. So I will call some students, maybe some in absentia, to come over to the stage and receive a little token of our appreciation and gratitude. First of all, Sage Friedman. Edward Bergman. Believe in absentia, but Phil Shevchenko. Bruton Strange. John Solsak, in absentia. And lastly, Belen Degner. I recently discovered that I had in my head been mispronouncing Belen's last name, so my apologies to the Degner family. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We hope to see you again next season throughout our offerings here at the Williston Theater. Have a great night. Take care.